these mistakes are hurting your opportunity to get a job. Everybody, this is Alessandro. Welcome back to my channel. A couple of days ago, since I having quite a lot of content on LinkedIn, I basically ask everybody, hey guys, if you're looking for a job, please write in the comments your demo reel, the position that you're looking for, and hopefully, because I have a lot of recruiters between my contacts, some of them they will see a possibly reply. I was expecting more or less 30 to 40 people to respond to that, but actually it was amazing. 400 plus people write down in the comment with their demo reel, their role, whatever. Even some of recruiters reply back, and I really hope everybody, you guys can get back on your feet and get a job, right? And I have to be honest, I watched most of those demo reel, even though I couldn't reply to each of you, and I saw some really cool stuff. I saw some animation that are really looking good in terms of acting, mechanics, timing, and some of them, some animation really generally make me laugh, in a good way, of course. I hope you understand what I mean. And I saw some really good stuff with really great potential. I have no doubt that in the next few months those people will find a job. But at the same time, I also see some people that when they upload their demo reel and everything, they made some mistake, some of them more severe, some of them a little bit less, that it's hurting you the chance to get a job, right? And today I compile a list I want to share with you guys, because maybe if you are listening, you might recognize some of those mistakes, and maybe you want to plan your demo reel in a little bit different way next time you're going to do one, right? There is also another one that I think is affecting maybe almost the majority of the demo reel that I saw, and I will talk about this at the end because it's very important. So please stay tuned, and let me go again with the list. All right. So first of all, one of the mistakes that I see quite the most is when an animation on your demo reel really lack energy, physicality, and weight. Okay, and so what I mean by that is when I see a character running and jumping and there is no energy, when it jumps, it looks like it's on the moon. The gravity, everything is very slow. When it lands, there is no weight. And I can tell you guys, this is a very severe mistake. And as someone that watch, demo reel when I need to recruit people in my team, as a lead animator, if I see something like that, after 3 seconds I watch your demo reel, I trash the email and I move to the next candidate. Because guys, even if you're applying as a junior, as an intern, if you show something like this, you only communicate, you don't understand body mechanics, you do not understand weight, physics in general, you didn't do your homework. All right, so bottom line, if I see something like this, it destroy completely your chance, especially if you're putting something like this at the beginning of your demo reel. But even any other moment, as soon as I see something like this, trash email, move to the next candidate. All right. Second things I want to talk about it is you need to make sure, guys, that your animation match the character that you're animating. Let me give you an example of one of my mistakes I saw on some of those reels. They were having the character that was a very old man, 70, 80 years old or something, but the way he moves, it looked like he was 19 years old. And you feel like, okay, that's not how this character is supposed to move. It doesn't feel very believable. There are, of course, exceptions, guys. For example, if you look at Hotel Transylvania, everybody moves with very snappy style and everything, right? It's the style of the game, of the movie. If you see Baby Boss from DreamWorks, right? Even again, it's very snappy, the way he moves in acts. It's not like a baby, obviously, but there is a style and contest, first of all. And second, you better be a goddamn good animator to pull it off, something like this. Because if you are not, you only look like that you didn't even do your research and you didn't even think about it, what kind of character are you animating. And because you're having a character that is this kind of feature and statistic, and you just animated as a general dude like me, right? And again, it shows that you don't do your research. You're not thinking about what is the character that you're actually animating. And again, you need to think very carefully who is your character before you do the animation. All right. Another things I notice sometimes when I watch reel, especially on dialogue shot, where the character is constantly moving, like, hey, I'm going this, let's go that, let's do this, let's do this, let's do that. All right, it's constantly in movement. But if you try to pause any single frame of that sequence, all right, there is not a single frame that look good. Nothing when it comes to staging, nothing when it comes to poses, nothing when it comes to facial. I try to pause many frames into that shot. None of them looks good or appealing. Looks very generic. The facial looks very generic. Pose look like you're just moving the body like this. And I was like, okay, what are you showing me? That you can take the master control and move it up and down and put some lip sync? nothing. I don't see anything interesting. And again, this is always go back to the root, guys, to the basic, because one of the things I always teach to my student, start with learn how to pose a character properly in an appealing way, then be able to tell a story. If I don't see that and you see you're just moving the character like this, I feel like you don't know anything about the principle of the animation, okay? Not even the basic one, which is do one single poses and make them look good, all right? Another things, I saw some animation where there was a lot of camera cuts and everything, right? But when you analyze each individual one, all of them, there is nothing interesting. Maybe there is one cut where the character is kind of thinking like this, another character is a head turn, another character is just doing like this, like all small clip. But when you analyze them individually, it's okay, there is nothing interesting in terms of animation. Here is kind of an idol, here in a head turn, here you're standing up. I don't see anything interesting. There is, again, guys, there is a highly chance that the next person submitting the shot after you, submitting their demo reel after you, they have something so much more interesting than yours. Okay, so you have to think about that things when you work on your demo reel. Don't just focus on yourself. Take a look what other people are doing, and you need to think about it to be better than them. All right. Another things. Yes, when it comes acting, right, and people do very pose to pose, very exaggerated. I mean, I like exaggeration, but you have to be very careful because sometimes it's like, the acting is very pose to pose with the very bad body mechanics. Sometimes, like, every time you hit a pose, you're like, hey, this kind of overshoot like this. Hey, this kind of stuff. You could see immediately that this person, he doesn't understand acting. He tried to do pose to pose with some nice appealing poses. Sometimes it doesn't even look that good. And again, acting doesn't work like this. It's not just going from one pose to another. Sure, you might have moments like this, but you want something a little bit more, sometimes a little bit more subtleties, okay? Another things I want to talk about is when in your demo reel, you have 3 shots that are all the same, even though they're very good. I'll give you this example. Remember, I saw this demo reel that has 3 acting shots. Most of them cut here from the upper body, quite well executed, right? But there is an issue. When you have something like this, basically you can only apply for studio that do feature film, high focus on acting. Okay, if I need to hire someone and I know my shows needs a lot of body mechanics shot and stuff like that, and I see something like this and I don't see any body mechanics, I don't have the confidence to move forward. Okay, same if you need to do creature visual effects. Imagine you could have the opportunity to work in games. Some people feel like, oh, I only be working in feature, I could never get a job in games. Wrong. If you have good body mechanics, you have a chance to work in games. But if your demo reel, it's only 3 close-up shots like this of acting and dialogue, and basically you can only work on project where they are looking for someone to focus on facial, basically, and maybe hands, right? Maybe there are plenty of other projects that they need artists with a wider skill set in terms of animation, and you're closing all those doors because basically you have 3 shots that are all very similar. Okay. Another things I noticed some shots be extremely long, like dialogue, like 30-40 seconds of dialogue, where the character was just like this, just moving the head, like was a full body, not full body, half a body shot. The character like this, just talking. The mouth barely had any shape. That was not facial, not much of a facial, just up and down. Then at some point he does this and talking like this. Again, completely useless. Do it 5 seconds, but do it a really well crafted animation rather than a 40-second, 30-second dialogue that nothing is good, right? It doesn't deserve any purpose. Again, when I was talking about acting before, when you exaggerate your acting, your performance, exaggerate at the right moment and for a good reason, okay? I'm all for it, for exaggeration, but you have to use it wisely. Not just go, hey, how you doing? Let's go here, let's do that, right? And every single beat you act with a very exaggerated poses. No, sometimes it's okay to go and exaggerate a nice pose and just stay there for 3-4 seconds before you move to the next piece of acting, right? And so also another thing, that exaggeration need to match the audio, the intensity of the audio. If the intensity of the voice delivery is very kind of flat and you're moving all like this, it will make no sense. Again, it's telling the other person, you don't know where to hit the beat, you don't know how to interpret that audio clip, and having an acting that kind of fits, right? That's another things. One more thing, avoid combat at all cost. Avoid combat animation unless you are a damn artist, a damn master in body mechanics, posing and timing. Because I see sometimes people, I understand combat is fun. It's something I wanted to do it at the very beginning when I was studying to become an animator, and I failed terribly exactly for this reason, because I wanted to do something fun, but the mechanics are not there, the poses are not exaggerated, the timing is not sharp enough, you don't master those skills yet, and you're trying to do body mechanics. And the worst part, again, and sometimes I see like a demo reel where they have like 3, 4, 5 shots, all body mechanic, all combat, right? Not body mechanic, all combat, and they do not look good because of those reasons, all right? Other things, avoid close-up shot, like very close-up shot. One, if you're not really good in facial expression, making facial appealing, making you feel how the character is thinking through the eyes, the gesture, right direction, the lip sync, stuff like that. And you also need to have a very good facial rig, because or else you're not going anywhere, all right? I saw again some reel where they have a kind of generic character where maybe they didn't even have a good rig, and they were close to camera, just talking a little bit like this, and pop, 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 pop. Again, I'm watching this, I'm like, okay, what are you trying to tell me? You know how to open the jaw up and down and just move a little bit like this? It's not that interesting as a skill that you want to sell yourself for. You know what I mean? Yes, and at the end, okay, that's what I mentioned at the very end, and this is also something I think realize affect 30-40% of the reel that I saw. You need to have more self-aware, because I saw some really good stuff, as I said at the beginning of the video. I saw some average intermediate stuff with some mistakes, as I just explained to you, but on the other hand, I saw a lot of demo reel that realistically they should not apply because they're not ready yet to get a job, where you could see from the body mechanics and everything they should just go back and study to the bouncing ball. And again, and the fact that you don't realize that you think that's good enough for you to apply and look for a job, it shows a really lack of self-awareness. And if you're serious about animation, I would suggest you to change that. If you're not able to see by yourself because you're lacking self-awareness, you need, guys, help. I don't care if you study animation by yourself, with school, college, private mentor, or whatever. I understand that sometimes, that's also some of my students tell me, they don't never receive proper feedback by their teacher to tell them exactly where they are, but you need someone brutally honest that, guys, is not afraid to tell you this demo reel sucks, you need to go back to the bouncing ball. Okay, you need someone that is really, really brutal. And it's something that normally students that come with me, they appreciate, because when I review their demo reel together every time we do the first lesson, I am very brutal. I pointed out in details a mistake, frame by frame, and they always tell me, okay, Alessandro, I knew my reel wasn't ready, but I have no idea it was so bad. Now that you're pointing it out and you show me example, now I realize I really need to go back to study the bouncing ball. And I know a lot of people are afraid to say this with brutal honesty, but I think it's the most important thing. I know you guys hear me saying this almost every video right now, but it is very important you understand this clearly, because or else, I talked with some people that they were looking for a job for the last few months. I feel like, oh, Alessandro, can't get a job because of the strikes, writer, the company are not looking for junior, only mid-level. They find a bunch of excuses, and I have to tell them, forget about all this. This has nothing to do with why you're not getting a job. You're not getting a job because your reel is not good. Forget about all those excuses, and I have to snap them to reality. Okay, guys, and I understand it's not an easy thing to say, but I think it's important that we are honest to each other. So if you're in that situation, if you recognize from some of the things I say today, again, don't just stay there and keep sending curriculum. Hopefully, magically you'll get a job. You need to get help from someone who has more expertise. You choose the person, but it needs to be someone that you really trust. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you next time. Ciao.